This is Jonathan Hickman, and you are listening to 11 O'Clock Comics.
Amazing. It's like you're practicing. I think you are practicing. I think you are. You're doing something. Because, no word to lie, we joke around a lot on the show about, first take, but it's not really first take. You've been on a roll at least. Well, I have been there for consecutive episodes, a long string of consecutive episodes. You've been on a roll of getting it in one, like crazy.
It has been a minute since I've had to do it more than once.
He's finally finished up puberty. He's clear.
It took 1,000 episodes, but I'm finally getting it.
It's almost like I want to say, no, try it again. Just to
fuck with it.
Yeah.
I get it. It's fine. Some bitch.
Welcome one and all to 11 O'Clock Comics, episode 1031. And I am Vince B.
Ooh-wee. You are Vince B. I am great to hear from you. I am David A. Price.
That is true. And of course, don't let me sneak up on you because I'm Dr. Jonathan Crane.
Oh, Lord.
Wow.
I know where this is going.
Jeez.
Vince, that's a character from this comic called Batman. He's a villain, Scarecrow.
Yeah. I read the Batman today.
Just a Batman?
From Rebirth.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. You really did mean like a random Batman.
Wow. Yeah, a Batman.
The Batman Swamp Thing issue, which is really good.
But the one... the one Tom wrote? Is the one Tom wrote?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it was good.
That's one of his best like. That's one of people's beloved issues from his run.
Yeah.
Right. It was really good. I still have a problem with Mitch.
I
don't know why.
Yeah.
You mean his art?
Yeah.
Wow, I never knew you had a problem with his art.
Yeah. I think he's good. He's very good. I just think he's boring.
That's interesting. I mean, I don't agree, but I mean, to each his own. Interesting.
Yeah, that's why I said that Tom would be in like my favorites, my lists. But I think a lot of the talent he works with is good, really good. But they're boring as hell. Like Mitch being first and foremost. Yeah.
Two-time Eisner Award winner, Mitch Garrett.
I know.
The boring Mitch. I mean, when I think I can see it. I can see where you're coming from. When I don't. We don't need to turn this OUFL into boring artists. But for me, just to throw it out there, is Phil Noto.
Oh,
yeah,
sure.
I don't like Phil's stuff at all. And
Phil's stiff as a board.
Same as with his Wonder Woman. I don't even know the artist in question, but
Daniel.
Daniel Semper. Yeah.
The artist to me looks terribly boring.
Oh, I like that art.
Yeah, me too. I really like that art as well. Yeah.
Brought to you by.
Yes, now we're doing it.
cheapgraphicnovels.com. cheapgraphicnovels.com, where you will pay far less than retail price for OGNs, your Out Investigations, your DC's Finest, your Marvel Epic Collections, your manga, your art books, everything listed there is far less than the price listed on the back or front cover. It's just a matter of fact. Excellent shipping, quick, really fast. Great packing, sales up the wazoo. The Nick and Dent sale, the rotating themed sales, pre-orders. Pre-orders are crazy. I use my wish list as soon as I get an email, I know it's time. Well, head on over to cheapcraftfilms.com because I'm still looking for JSA Volume 2. For some weird reason, he got Volume 1, which ordered from him. And then the pre-order coming soon is for Volume 3. Like, where's Volume 2?
It's in the Bermuda Triangle.
Even the search comes up. Nothing.
This is the current JSA run? The Jeff Lemire run?
Yeah. It's like mass number 1.
Lemire. Yeah. It's crazy. But anyway, if that wasn't enough, all of that stuff, there's specials as well.
Always are.
Ooh, I'll tell you about some of them. Like DC Finest Batman, A Death in the Family, trade paperback for $23.99. In 1988, the pop culture world was rocked when comics readers were given the opportunity to decide the outcome of one of the medium's most controversial quandaries. Should the Boy Wonder die? When Jason Todd's impulsive nature clashes with the Dark Knight's methodical approach to crime fighting yet again, Jason takes off on his own in search of his birth mother. Meanwhile, Batman's latest case leads him to the Middle East, hot on the trail of the Joker, who is brokering the sale of a nuclear device to terrorists. Realizing they must work together to prevent a global disaster and find Jason's long-lost mother, Batman and Robin reunite in time to thwart the clown prince of crime. However, this setback sets in motion a far more sinister plot that ultimately leads to betrayal and a deadly date with a crowbar. The decisions to kill off the second Robin drew polarized opinions from fans and critics and remains one of the most controversial story arcs in the history of the Caped Crusader. Would the Dark Knight slip into darkness of the abyss without a Boy Wonder to hold him back? And would fans ever accept another wayward youth stepping into the role of Robin? Collects Batman numbers 423 through 429, Batman Annual number 12, Batman the Cult 1 through 4, Detective Comics numbers 590 through 595, and Detective Comics Annual number 1. Lead City trade paperback for $11.21. It's 1873 when a blizzard strands homesteader Coleman Cooper and his family in a small town. He soon learns the town plays host to an annual contest that attracts thieves and killers from far and wide. With no way out, Coleman finds himself pitted against 7 deadly fighters in the anything-goes, tooth-and-nail battle for survival known as Lead City. Before Deadwood, before Tombstone, before Durango, there was Lead City. And finally, Unemployed Killers Support Group graphic novel for $9.74. Locker Lloyd, once a deadly sniper, lost his vision and his job on a mission gone wrong. Now he's joined by an unlikely circle of former contract killers, each grappling with their own personal collapse. Among them, Gloria Mays, a meticulous assassin whose career imploded after catching her husband cheating and killing the mistress in a jealous rage. Jerry Cole, a justice-obsessed lawyer turned bloodthirsty executioner. And Geordie Joe, a delusional con man who's never actually killed anyone. As they try to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives, Locker begins to realize his past isn't done with him. A dangerous figure, the one responsible for his blindness and a friend's death, is still at large, and revenge is still on the table. For fans of dark comedy, crime thrillers, and twisted found family, Unemployed Killer Support Group is a bold, bloody, and brilliantly offbeat ride through the lives of society's most dangerous burnouts. Welcome to the group. Check your conscience at the door.
Always so.
Well said.
Yeah. Cheap. I realized at the time that the phone-in was the one of the beginnings of the end of Batman, because to let the audience determine the fate of a character is wrong, in my opinion. I think it's the provenance of the creative team to decide whether he lives or dies. Falling short, if you made a bad decision, you made a bad decision. You know, but letting the readership do it, I think was a thought at the time, and I still to this day I still feel it was wrong-headed of them to let the readership decide. Whether it was true or not is beside the point. I don't like Jason as a character, but whether he lives or dies is really not my not my stock in trade. You know, and I don't didn't then and I don't now think that it should be the readership's stock in trade either.
2 weeks in a row where Vince reminds everyone that comics died in the late 80s.
Yeah. Well, get used to it because it's true.
Oh man.
Meanwhile, Death in the Family was pretty much the first Batman I ever read, so I don't exactly see Batman in the
Yeah,
same
but
way.
most of it was hype. It was hype.
Sure. Yeah, that's why I read it. Yeah, that's why I read it, because of the hype. Yeah. Yeah.
And
But I loved it, though. I loved it. I thought it was cool. Like, I was like, oh, Batman's pretty cool.
this is coming from a guy who thinks that Triangle Superman is some of the best comics ever. That was all hype. Most of it was all hype. I'm I'm drinking, obviously.
That's a given.
I think the wine is excellent, but I put that on the black burner, and what I'm drinking, it has no name because
Okay. It's moonshine? It's rot gut?
it might as well be. It comes from my brother-in-law. It's a hazelnut chocolate lager.
Okay.
That is, it sounds sweeter than it is. Actually it's not bad. So, Damon, thank you, and for this beer with no name. It's good.
Good.
It's good.
It's good. Yeah.
Well, because I love you a lot, I'm drinking something from your motherland. I'm drinking some Chianti, buddy. Yeah, I'm drinking it's absolutely wonderful, actually. I highly recommend it. It's a long name, so bear with me. It's Rufino Ducale de Oro, Grand Reserve, Reserva Grand. So it is.
Something of
It is-
gold.
Yeah. It's exactly. It's basically Grand Reserve Gold Label Rufino. But yeah, it's. I know you're interested, Vince. So it's ruby red with garnet hues. Has an intense impact with powerful notes of cherry, plum, and violet that opens up the bouquet. But then that fades into neat aromas of tobacco, chocolate, cinnamon, and spicy hints of black pepper.
Wow,
Very,
I
very
thought
nice.
you were allergic to cinnamon.
You can't again wine wine flavors are from remnants of the soil. Like you're not like they're never there's
It's
never
not pure cinnamon.
Yeah,
Right,
yeah, it's
right,
never, it's
right,
never,
right.
But no, it's great. It's great. We picked up our favorite wine store was having a little push for some Italian reds, so we picked up some new ones that we had never had before, and
Good for you.
yeah, it's really good. It's really good. So
My brother-in-law's brother-in-law is going on an Italian cruise, and one of the stops is Sicily. And I'm like, if you are offered, and you will be, an almond wine, take it. because it is some of the best wine you'll ever have. Really. It does sound like my obviously my words are wasted, but so good. I wish I had bought more than I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had it because I haven't been to Sicily, but it's like a dessert wine. It's like port. It's like
So good.
Sicily's
Yeah.
version of port, as I understand it, right? Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Really, really good.
Hmm.
But it sounds like what you're drinking is good as well.
Yes, sir. What about you, King?
This is this was given a whopping 90 points by Suckling. This is
Oh, suckling now.
Suckling, Sir de los Andes. It's a Malbec, selected vineyards at the foothills of the Andes at 3,500 feet. It's Mendoza, Argentina, and let's see the label. Grapes are sourced from high altitude vineyards in Mendoza, Argentina, at the foothills of the Andes. Fermentation done in cement vats with native yeast. The wine has been aged in concrete tanks and cement vats, and it's. I like the linger. It does. It's not super smooth, but it goes down nice. I'm not upset by it.
We're super bushy this week.
Yes, we are. Pinky's out.
Yeah,
It's true.
I like it. I
love
like
it
it.
too.
Yeah.
Me too. Before we jump in, I have two announcements as well. First, we need to send a good karma shout out to certainly one of the more popular creators of our generation. We see him, well, I was going to say every year, but most years we see him at Heroes Con. He's pretty much one of the foundational fixtures of Heroes Con. He will not be there this year, unfortunately, because his wife let us all know that he is battling stage 3 colorectal cancer. But Mr. Adam Hughes is you know, he's fighting the good fight. So let's all wish him well, because you know, fuck that. And speaking of that, he announced this, I guess, in relation to some requests he was getting, because Heroes Con is fast upon us, and it is less than 2 months away. Many of you listening will be joining us. We can't wait to see you. But I did want to mention that the guest list, they just announced a massive addition to the guest list. I know people were sort of waiting with bated breath for the big download of guests, and they in fact have done so. So guest looks great as always. I guess the big news is that Mr. Scott Snyder is coming back, I think for only the second time in his career, and it's been like at least a decade since he's been there. So between I think like all the major absolute Batman people will be there, so I'm sure that will take up a big chunk of the floor with lines. But that my thought there is the more people waiting in line for that is the less people waiting in line for stuff I want to get in line for. So
there you go.
So that's great, right? So yeah, so it's less than 2 months away. Hard to believe. So yeah, hard to believe.
Diggity dog.
Yep. Jason had another game.
Well, it was actually Dap's idea. I said, "Hey, do we have something we want to do tonight? Because we're recording on Tuesday night, because you guys are accommodating me because I have to go away for business tomorrow. So thank you for that. But seeing as how it's not, we didn't get a new comic book day yet, and it was a short turnaround. I said, is there anything that we might do to lighten the load this week, so people have aren't overly worried about having to cram a bunch of reads and not really enjoy them?" And Dap said, "Well, it's been a while since we did an overrated, underrated, favorite, least favorite OUFL. And so, as we're wont to do, we came up with 3 OUFL categories for your listening pleasure. And the first one is Mad Magazine regulars. So yes. I say regulars because it'd be too easy to cheat with your least favorite by picking like someone who was like in like 3 issues in 2012, like so. The spirit of this are your the overrated, underrated, least favorite, and favorite Mad Magazine regulars, like, but the like from the gang of idiots, like, from the group of creators that we all associate with Mad Magazine, from like their peak of from the '60s through, well, I guess '50s through, I don't know, late '80s would be kind of like the range we're talking about theoretically. I mean, you could, no shade if you guys offer someone else that's newer than that, but the way I approached it was, people that were the cornerstones of the magazine as I was coming to read it and enjoy it.
Well, there's really two answers for this.
Well, for which one? What are we doing?
The magazine.
No, but I'm
there
saying,
is-
when you say two answers, are you talking overrated, underrated, least favorite, or favorite?
No, I'm talking comic version
Oh.
Mad and magazine version of
Got it.
Mad, because they're definitely not the same thing.
Well, I wasn't even. I mean, I was completely just thinking of the magazine. I mean,
Okay.
The parodies, the
I thought-
satires, yeah.
Well, which makes it a hell of a lot easier to, somewhat.
You also have to remember, Vince, Jason and I weren't buying them off the stands when the magazine first came out.
Right.
That's true. We weren't born in '32, and we weren't, in high school.
Well,
in the late 50s.
neither was I, but
Also, before we give our answers, I realize that, I mean, we've certainly talked about Mad a lot over the years, but I don't know that people even like 10 years younger than us, like 40 and younger, understand how incredibly influential Mad Magazine was.
oh yeah,
At its heyday. At one point, and this is not like a fake stat. At one point, more than 60% of high school males were reading Mad Magazine in the entire country.
Yep.
Like, it was literally the most popular thing among teenagers for nearly a decade. Now, by the time that, like, I mean, again, Vince is a little older than us, but like by the time Dap and I were reading it in earnest in like the 80s, and then into, that was like, for me, the 80s. I assume for you, Dap, was like the core of sort of when we read it. It was still wildly popular, but not quite as popular. In the 60s, at its peak, it had, it sold over 3 million copies a week, or a release, not a week, but every release. And it came out 8 times a year. And then by the time sort of we were reading it in middle school and high school, it was still selling over 1 million copies, which is incredible. And then obviously it dwindled. In the 90s, it fell off sort of pretty precipitously, as did most magazines. And and then obviously now it exists, but in a much different form, and it's nowhere near the same. It hasn't really. I don't think Mad has been part of the cultural zeitgeist since the mid '90s, but
I agree.
Which is not to say that anything that's been done over the last 30 years hasn't been good stuff. I'm sure there has been, but there was, when we were kids, even before comics. I mean, Mad Magazine, everybody. Like, I didn't have too many friends that read comics, right? But every kid I knew read Mad Magazine. Like, every one of them read it. Yep. So, yeah. But anyway, Vince, since you're the oldest and bustedest of us, we'll let you start with your overrated pick.
Okay. I'm going to lose some friends.
I know. I already know which one this is.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Overrated, I would 100% say, and I know you love him, Jason.
That's why I know exactly where this is going.
Yeah, I already know who you're going to say. I already have it written in.
Yep.
So, Don Martin.
Yeah.
Right. Now, I knew that was your pick because we talked about it years ago, and you broke my heart when you said you thought he was overrated.
That's why I have I have the slipcase, the Don Martin slipcase from Vince, because he didn't want it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. He gave it to you. Now explain, but can you explain to the listeners why you think he's overrated? Because obviously I knew that was going to be your answer, but
I think he's visually different. Mm-hmm. He has a pastiche that lends itself really well to vintage cartooning,
right?
But I don't think he should be as popular as he is. I think that his work smacks of sameness every time. It's always the same. The bent shoes, the pinky out. Like, okay, we get it. He's just not my thing. But I recognize his talent. I don't have time for it.
Now, I don't know to speak for you guys, but I have to say, like, going through this exercise, I was reminded of how amazing Mad was in its prime, because they're all incredible. Like I was like when I was trying to think of my least favorite and my overrated, I'm like, whoa, they're so fucking good. It was like I was going through a list of, and I was like, they're great. It was more of a. So this is very much, at least for me, a relative thing. Like relative to everyone else that was part of the usual gang of idiots. Like it's only that. Like as a standalone, all the people I thought about putting in, I ultimately chose, are still phenomenally great. Like it and deserve no shade. So keep that in mind as you listen to the rest of this, folks.
Yep.
Yeah, Don Martin. I expected you to say that, so fair enough. Tap, who's your overrated?
Initially, because this one and one other one were well, this OUFL and another OUFL weren't as smooth sailing. But for this, by default, because I'm very careful about how I wanted to rank or list everybody. I was going to say William Gaines just to get it over with, just because listen, he was the publisher. He seemed to be larger than life, but I'm like, you know what? No. Let me do an actual contributor who didn't just sign checks or whatever. And I thought about it, and I looked over a lot of the creators who were involved while I was growing up and reading it, and then at some of the creators who have been on it in more in the past 20 odd years or so, when I haven't been so into the magazine. And I'm picking him because not because I find him to be overrated, but just because he doesn't need Mad Magazine, and he had such a prolific career outside the magazine. I went with Peter Cooper.
Yeah, I thought about going with Peter Cooper. And I just talked about Peter Cooper's Insectopolis, to your point. I love Peter Cooper. I think he's great. But that was one of my choices. That I didn't pick him ultimately, but that was one on a very short list I was trying to sort of build a case for overrated. I went with one, and again, I don't know where you two stand on it. This may seem like blasphemy, but my overrated pick is Dave Berg. And again, with the caveat that Dave Berg is awesome, and best known for The Lighter Side, his feature that he did a million times, and I vividly remember reading them and loving them. And if one of the publishing companies produced a beautiful hardcover slipcase collection of all the lighter sides, like we've gotten about Don Martin and Al Jaffe, I would absolutely buy it in a heartbeat. So again, it's not like, oh, the guy's bad. But for me, when I look back on it, the thing I remember when I was reading it in its prime is, as much as I enjoyed the lighter side, I always thought it was, even then, it felt sort of outdated. Dave's humor was not of the time. His word choice, his humor was all sort of from the period of that 60s kind of, what made people laugh in the 60s, and the moral and ethical standard of the 60s. And so I felt like it felt agey even back then. Whereas I felt like most of the other Mad creators were obviously satirizing the then and now, right? What was culturally significant in the moment. So that's why he gets under or overrated. But I mean, it's Dave Berg. So again, I don't have anything really bad to say about him.
Right.
And one I didn't pick, but I will mention just for conversation's sake. It was between Dave Berg and Antonio Prohias. And
sure.
And again, for listeners who are wondering, who don't know these names, because we kind of assume you all do, Prohias is the creator of Spy vs. Spy, which I love. I love Spy vs. Spy. I own multiple hardcover collections of that. But the reason I almost chose him is because while he did create Spy vs. Spy, and he did Spy vs. Spy for decades, when he gave up the characters, it kept going with people like Peter Cooper and others, who basically, to my mind, it didn't change at all. It looked the same, it read the same, whereas I don't know that any of the other original greats, once they moved on, the people that replaced them felt like bad copies. They didn't feel like they were carrying the torch to me. Whereas with Prohias, I feel like his successors very much felt like they were carrying on the torch appropriately. But anyway. All right, Vince, you are up for underrated, which is hard because it's Mad Magazine. They're all legends, but
extremely difficult.
Yes.
Yeah. I struggled with this one.
Me too.
Because I think as far as Mad Magazine goes, there's a lot of underrated cartoonists. But top of the list, I have to go with Al Jaffe.
Okay.
I think what he did with the fold-ins,
Yeah.
it's easy to gloss over them, but incredible work by just a master level cartoonist. His style is impeccable. His timing is right on the money. I think, if Al Jaffe, it's almost criminal. It's easy to say. I want to say Wally Wood, but Wally's more of a comic version of Mad than magazine version.
Yeah.
So I didn't say Wally for that reason. If it were open to the whole publishing empire, I still would struggle. Well, yeah, I think the right answer for this is Al Jaffe.
Not mad at that. Not mad at that.
Yeah, yeah, no, that's fair. I had to. I knew exactly who was going to be my answer for this because when we read Mad Magazine, when we think about Mad Magazine, we just think about the art. For the most part, people tend to think about the art, and the writers are there obviously because even though like you have folks like Dave Berg or Jaffe or Don Martin where they're writing their own strips. Some of the more
And even
of the TV.
Don Martin. I would say Don Martin didn't write all this. Like Duck
No,
Edwing was the writer for a lot of
right?
it. But
Yes,
yeah. But yeah.
but the movie spoofs, the television parodies, those were usually a writer and artist team. But Dick DiBartolo, it was one of my favorite writers.
Yeah.
Of the magazine. I remember seeing him on Tech TV for a while. He would show up on Call for Help, and he'd be ripping it up and having a great time. But yeah, he's a funny dude. He's clever as hell. I really enjoy his parodies. And yeah, I wanted to, since the bulk of my list, since the other three are, well, I mean, Cooper does both, but yeah, since my last two, well, one's an artist and one's a writer artist, but I wanted to show writer love. And it's very hard for me to say any artist for Mad I would have considered underrated. So for me, it's just a way for me to give some shine to a writer. And so I'm giving an underrated to Dick.
Yeah, I like that. I was between who I picked and Frank Jacobs for the same reasons. The other sort of guy who was more of a writer than a so. But I did go with an artist, and this one is probably gonna people are like, wait, what? Because you're the person is not overrated. Sorry, the person is not underrated. The person's contributions to Mad, I think, are underrated, and that is Jack Davis. Now, keep in mind, this again is all relativism. Obviously, Jack Davis is an all-time great. We have uttered the man's name with reverence 1,000 times in our history doing the show. We've talked about he has multiple beautiful collections. His art is coveted by everyone around the world, myself included. Like listen, everyone knows and loves Jack Davis. I'm not suggesting he's like, but again, this is Mad, so every artist that was seminal for Mad is not some unknown quantity. The reason he's my pick is because in Mad history, Jack, there was a schism in the late 50s that led to many of the original members of the Mad team to leave. And they would go on to do things like Wits End and Crackdown. Again, we've talked about these things over the years. Then a bunch of them came back in the late 60s. So they were gone for like 8 years, though. And Jack was part of that. Jack left the magazine for he was gone for, he was not there for for a big chunk of the meteoric sort of period of early Mad magazine that put it on the map as a cultural touchstone. And as a result, Mad always did these surveys. You guys remember this, but again, I'm speaking to the audience. Mad did these user surveys, and they would release the results. And Jack was always listed as one of people's least favorite artists, which again is so baffling to consider, right? Because it's Jack fucking Davis. But in terms of the Mad fandom, probably because they were mad that he was gone for so long, he would routinely be ranked towards the very bottom of people's favorite contributors.
Crazy.
And again, and that's crazy. And obviously, the test of time, I mean, has kind of healed that wound. So, but I just think there's no place in my mind that Jack Davis shouldn't be among the most heralded creators in anything he ever was involved with. He is probably, I mean, we've never done like an official ranking of cartooning in general, but like he would be on my Mount Rushmore of cartoonists. Like his art makes my heart sing in ways that like pretty much no one else's does. And if I ever had, Powerball money, I would buy him. I would buy a Jack Davis cover. Like I love him so much. So yeah, so he's my pick. Even though I realize some people are like side eyeing it because it's Jack fucking Davis and everybody.
Would I leave the person's name a mystery, but I know an artist who has an original Jack Davis, and when he showed to me, I was in awe. Like at the size, at just the fact that I'm holding a Jack Davis in my hand, and he acted like it was no big thing. It's like, dude, you have a Jack Davis.
Yes. Now, to be fair, I have two Jack Davises, and I love them. But yes, I hear you. I hear you. Yeah.
And underrated. I split the fact that it was a comic before it was a magazine.
Right.
I originally was going to say Harvey Kurtzman.
Sure.
Because I think without Harvey, there would be no Mad magazine.
Right. No, that's
but Harvey is. It's almost like he's transcended the rating system, where it's hard to say. Harvey Kurtzman is underrated. The guy changed publishing forever with the Mad magazine and Mad Comics. So, by definition, he's underrated.
No, that's totally fair. One of the things that I was the mental impetus to suggest this as a category is that Fantagraphics is coming out this year with Mad, the complete Harvey Kurtzman years.
Yeah.
It is a gigantic slipcase with multiple hardcovers. It is 1,300 pages, and it is the complete Harvey Kurtzman run, including the comics and magazine. It's the first 5 issues plus the initial 23 comics, completely reprinted. And I mean, I can't wait for it. It's going to be, I believe it's going to be released in October, so it'll be solicited in what would that? Well, it's probably going to be advanced solicited because these kind of big giant things are. But it's due to release in October. So for those that aren't aware of this and you're interested, be on the lookout. Obviously, we'll talk it up, but I assume it'll be solicited soon. I mean, it's April now, so probably next month or the month after. It's also on Fantagraphics site already. Like you can pre-order it there if you rather, but then you're not going to get the discount of like cheap graphic novels. So I would order it from our sponsor. But point being, Ed is an absolute must-have for any Mad fan on your shelf if you can afford it. I believe it's a $300 retail price, so it's pricey, but you're getting I think 3 hardcovers in the slipcase, so it's I think more than worth it. But yeah.
Yeah, and order it soon because
it's not available. I mean, you can't order it.
You
can order it from like Amazon if you want it, but I'm saying like I don't like the comic retailers, including CGN, I don't think have it available yet because they haven't gotten the code yet. But it will be coming. It's probably going to come out. Like I said, if it was normal, it would be available in August for October release. But since it's a gigantic triple slipcase, I assume it'll be solicited either in June or July, would be my bet. So
my point being, if you do not order it when it's solicited, you will get FOMO, right? You will pay. You'll either pay far more than the retail cost for it, or you won't get it at all. Both of which are very, very criminal. So, order it. Yeah.
It'll be out in October.
Yeah. All right, Vince, you're up for least favorite.
Least favorite?
No. I didn't get my favorite.
We didn't do favorites yet. I switched it.
OUFL.
I switched it for this because I feel like it's better to do. I know, but it's better to do.
Okay, no,
favorite
that's fine.
last.
I just okay. I missed that. We're good.
Yeah. No, yeah. So we'll do favorite last. I just because I feel like it's bad karma to end on a bad.
I
So
get
we're
you.
gonna do least favorite and then favorite. Yeah,
I like it.
So Vince,
Okay.
least favorite.
I'm not gonna pull any punches.
Okay.
I hate this man's work.
Damn.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Well, it's least favorite. I don't find it funny. I think the strips are outdated. You can see him getting progressively worse as the magazine went on, where the whiteout becomes very, very apparent. Apparent. Dave Berg.
Man, see, we were in the same mindset.
Yeah, I hate
Nice.
his work. Again, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. I really, really do not like. In
I
fact,
was trying to sugarcoat it, but we were in the same like that. He's the guy, right?
yeah,
It's
I don't. It got to the point where I would skip over anything Dave Berg does.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't expect to have that kind of symmetry. There you go. All right, Dap. Who's your least favorite?
Well, this is gonna be anticlimactic, but my least favorite is Dave Berg, and I don't.
Oh, shit.
I'm not saying that because I dislike the man's work immensely. Out of all of the mad contributors, he is. Yeah, he's not the one that. Oh snap! The new Dave Berg is out. I'd read the lighter. Everything you were saying earlier about the lighter side is true. It felt like the older man in the room who was trying to be hip when you still got like folks like Angelo Torres and everybody else who like making the funny jokes.
It'd be like someone being like, "Yo, that's radical!" Like today, trying to be cool with their kids. Like, that's gnarly,
the Steve
bro.
Buscemi meme.
Yeah.
Hey, fellow kids.
Yeah.
The you've got, but I mean, because I also because even Bob Clark, and I really like Bob Clark's work. He was another one who just, it felt like, listen, National Lampoon's like down the hall. Like, this is Mad Magazine. Like we get you're a little stuffier than what everybody else is doing. So
right.
I respect the man's work, but more often than not,
Dave Berg was like, yeah, I was just gonna say, Dave. To your point, Dave Berg. For those that don't know, again, that haven't dug into the history of Mad, like Dave Berg was like the Chevy Chase of Mad Magazine. He was super serious as a human being and hated like being around everybody else because they all were always cutting jokes, and he always would get mad if they didn't take his stuff seriously. And they were like, "Bro, we're a comedy parody satire magazine. Like, what are you talking about?" So yeah, so he seemed like someone that wasn't fun to hang out with in real life either.
And your work sucks to begin with.
I know. And I will say that, speaking of anticlimactic, my least favorite was because I obviously picked Berg for my overrated, was actually Bob Clark. So
wow.
Yeah, and again, like I'm not saying Bob Clark was bad. Again, all these guys, they're like, they're fucking Mad Magazine. But Bob has, I think he either is the record holder or close to. He did over 600 features for Mad. Yeah. You couldn't have read Mad at really any time over those first 30 years and not had read Bob Clark frequently. But like, I always thought like he just didn't leave a mark. Like it just was always like, oh yeah, like I don't know, like it just was never. It just never. I never looked forward to Bob Clark stuff. Like I would always be excited for so many other people, some that we've named, many that we haven't. That I would look forward to their contribution actively. And I never once said like, "Oh, I can't wait to see what Bob Clark's doing this month." It just never happened.
I liked Clark's art, but the subject matter, whatever, like if he was talking about like a TV guide or the Olympics, or something like whatever he was drawing about, would just not be so exciting to me. The Berg stuff, the lighter side, just felt like a speed bump after reading a couple of segments, and then you're like, oh, all right, and you got to like try to pick up the momentum again. So,
exactly.
But yeah, excellent.
I'm glad that Jason brought up Lampoon because I read Lampoon.
Dap did, but yeah, it was Dap, but yeah.
Okay, Dap. I read Lampoon as well, and lots of jokes would be like, get to the point.
Yeah.
But really,
Well,
like
because you can never count on those Harvard assholes to be funny. I mean,
I thought
Harvard sucks.
I thought they were funny, but it was just like almost a delayed reaction
Right.
where Mad was instantaneous. Boom! It was
Yeah.
funny. So it's up to me to list my favorite.
Yes, it is.
This was a hard one.
Sure, because they could all be favorites.
Yeah. Again, breaking it up between comic version and magazine version. My favorite Mad magazine, regular, was an artist. I almost want to let Dab answer my question because I think he has the answer.
Oh, I know mine. I know mine immediately.
Mark Drucker.
Yep. Boom. Done.
Yep.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was in my top 3 for sure. I mean, he was my favorite. Yeah.
And I love. Come on, seriously, I love Kurtzman. It was extremely hard, difficult to answer this question, but I think Drucker is an incredible talent.
Yeah, for
That
sure.
I don't think anything else needs to be said.
Yeah, no, he and Angelo Torres were phenomenal 1-2 punch. Very very similar styles, but Eddie, I would even if he was leading, even if he wasn't leading off the magazine with whatever movie they were starting the issue with, I would look for and read the Drucker serial before anything else in the magazine.
Yeah, completely.
There
I
are
mean,
times I'd read it, straight through from front cover to back, but for the most part, if I knew Drucker was drawing something, I wanted to check that out.
Right. More often than not, the more Drucker version was better than the quote real version. His Jaws, I think, is I love the movie Jaws, but the Mark Drucker version is extremely funny.
Well, and you guys just touched on something that we should mention, which is that there was sort of like the experiential part of reading the magazine. To me, like Drucker and Jaffe are so imprinted because it was first and last, right? Like Drucker was usually, if not always, the first person you're reading because he's doing again, to your point, the movie send up of the issue, and it kind of, that's what you start and you kind of get going. Then you read a bunch of other stuff, of varying degrees of awesomeness, and then you finish always with the Jaffe fold-in cover, and it's like, so yeah. I mean, I'm with you. I almost chose him. I ended up, of course, going with Don Martin, which is why we laughed, because Vince is overrated as Don Martin. But y'all, I mean, I don't have to relitigate this. You guys know I love Don Martin. Brings me joy. Think he's great. I totally agree. The style is repetitive, but it doesn't bother me in the least. I'm laughing, thinking, like, just picturing in my head makes me laugh and smile at this. Think the style's funny, cracks me up. So yeah, no, but again, I mean, your mileage may vary, but Don Martin's my guy. And as I now crest beautifully into my 50s, I don't have too many artists who I want art from that I don't have art from, but I still do not have anything from Don Martin, and I would very much like to have a piece. But they're hard to come by. Well, they're hard to come by if you're financially disciplined. They are really fucking expensive.
They're really expensive.
They are really expensive. Yeah, like there were a couple pieces that went the 2 months ago when I bought the Excalibur page in Heritage, that same auction had a number of Don Martin pieces in it, and like a single panel gag was like $25,000.
Jesus.
That's why one of the reasons why I don't list certain artists with the magazine was because they weren't. I don't believe they were in it enough. Basil Wolverton,
Right.
and incredibly expensive
Yeah.
to buy a page for that very reason, that they weren't in it for that long. I think Basil was in
like Harvey, like a lot of the EC, like a lot of those guys obviously are all timers and contributed to early Mad, but like to me, they're more than Mad. You know what I mean? Like a lot of the people we've talked about tonight are like synonymous with Mad, right? Like not to say they didn't do other things, but like really the only one I think that we mentioned that wouldn't be like generally speak. Well, I guess Peter Cooper and Jack Davis have done a lot of stuff outside of Mad magazine that would be worthy of discussion and celebration. Yeah. But like for the most part, most of the others we've talked about, I mean, Al Jaffe is Mad, right? Like Don Martin is Mad, Prohias is Mad. Like even like Sergio, none of us mentioned Sergio Aragones in any of our categories, but like Sergio literally has worked for Mad for almost 50 years.
Yeah,
like he is synonymous with Mad, even though he also has Gru, right? Like so, he's kind of unique in that he's got two things he's synonymous with that he's never quit, which is pretty impressive.
With the Sergio, I wanted to list him as an underrated. I wanted to list him as a favorite, but he just didn't make the cut. But
he didn't make the cut for me either because to me, I don't like. I vividly remember Sergio, of course, reading Mad, but I do think of Sergio more like when the Rorschach test of like when we say the name Sergio Aragones, I think of Gru first. So that's why
most people do.
Yeah, that's why I didn't include him.
So,
yeah.
But, really hard, really difficult, and we haven't heard Dap's favorite.
No. Well, I assumed.
Oh no, I echoed you. I echoed you with Mort.
I assumed it was more Trucker. Yeah, that's why. Why I jumped in. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
All right.
Oh yeah, Wonder Twin Powers. So. Yep.
Look at that. Fucking shake and bake over here. Nice. All right. Good. So, do you guys want to jump to some comics, or do you want to keep going with these OUFLs? How do you want to space it?
Go on the OUFLs.
Okay. Well, let's do the hard one.
Yeah.
Because I really didn't even know. Like, I got to be honest. There's two of my four that I'm still kind of like. I'm gonna wing it. Like when it's my turn to answer, I'm gonna not wing it, but I'm like I have a couple like still coin tosses. But this one is OUFL Jack Kirby comics. Now off air before we started recording, we all agreed that this one was extremely difficult because it's fucking Kirby. I mean, it's hard to really. I guess at this point in our lives, it's hard to both pick a favorite, and it's hard to besmirch really any of his work. But that being said, we are professionals. We have a job to do, and we did it. So we'll start with Dap this time. Dap, what is your overrated Jack Kirby comic?
Well, like Vince not making friends with the Mad, I'm going to start off with my most overrated Kirby comic I feel is New Gods.
Oh, Jesus.
Coming in strong. Right off the bat. Just fuck it. Scorched earth, baby.
Scorched earth. I am floored. I did not expect that at all. Wow.
Come at me.
Respect. Wow.
Yeah.
And listen, and part of it is because of the resurgence. Part of it is because the current resurgence everybody's loving, and I love the fact that everybody's loving the New Gods. I think it's great. But as far and I'm glad that it's lived.
We just lost a patron. Raj just.
I know. Well, that's why I'm trying to bring him back. Raj, don't go away. I love the fact that others have been able to take that baton and run with it. Whether it's Van V, whether it's Byrne and Simonson, I'm glad. The concept still, hell, fucking Don Newton. I'm doing a Don Newton page a day, and for the most part, like for the past 8 months, it's been fucking New God. So I mean, I get it. But when it comes to everything that I look at that the King has done, and I'm just thinking about the OUFL concept. It was one of the first things that there really wasn't much in contention with it. I was just like, fuck it. Wow. I'm going with New Gods.
All right. I mean, listen. Needless to say, I love this. See, this is great because you got a genuine reaction out of me. I'm stunned. I did not even consider it. For me, this was the easiest of the four categories. Honestly, for me, overrated is X-Men. Jack Kirby Jack Kirby drew the first 11 issues of X-Men in its existence. like with almost all Marvel characters, he is the creator of them. So he created the concept. He created the concept. He created Professor X and the original five, which is of course Beast and Marvel Girl and Cyclops and Angel, and created Magneto, and I said Magneto for Vince's purposes. But my point is, it's as a lifelong Marvel zombie, Kirby is the Big Bang. Like, he created all of these characters. Like, not literally all, but like 90% of the characters that quote unquote matter in the Marvel universe today, he created. So it's super hard for me to like throw any shade. But honestly, like I said, this is easy for me because while he is the creator of the X-Men, and therefore you can say that nothing that came after would exist without him, because, and obviously X-Men is one of my favorite properties of all time. I still view his 11-issue run as overrated because it was really boring, honestly. And relative to the creativity that he gave other characters he was creating during that incredible period, they looked boring, like visually. Like, he didn't really like. I just feel like it wasn't his best work. I think he would probably say that if he were still alive. And it wasn't. And unlike many of the other characters that he created during that period, it didn't resonate with fandom. It was X-Men was a critical and commercial flop under his and Stan's watch, and basically, as we all know, was one of the, if not the lowest seller in their line for a number of years, and then they basically shuttered it and started doing reprints until, of course, we got Claremont to resurrect the concept and bring it to what I think is what 95% of people who love the X-Men think of when they think of what the sort of the tentpole versions of the X-Men are to be fair, are Claremont's. And again, so I can't say that Jack isn't in my heart for giving us the concept. The thing that X-Men has become and has stayed for 40 years since, that we all love, at least when it's good. I don't love it right now. Is really not Jack's doing, and yet so many of the other characters that we can talk about at Marvel that exist today are still very much, in many ways, at least visually and at their cores, the same as what Jack created. But you can't say that for the X-Men, so that's why it's my pick.
Nice. This one was incredibly hard.
I know, because Jack does no wrong for you.
Yeah, he doesn't. But
I can't wait to get the least favorite.
I went with other writers and artists have done more with this character than Kirby. I don't think it was on the book for that long, and what he did, while good, is I think boring in retrospect. Not quite as boring as more boring than the X work, which I think is boring, but when you think he built an empire,
sure,
out of the X-Men, whether he knew it or not. My overrated Jack Kirby creation is Incredible Hulk.
Yeah, I considered that as well.
Yeah, I think Greg Pak and Peter David and a slew of others did far more interesting work with
and
the
even
Hulk.
visually, like, I think, again, if like I'm thinking of like the seminal Hulk artist, I don't think of Jack. Like I think of Sal. I mean, for me, it's Sal Buscema would be like the like when I think of like what Hulk should look like. Sal's the first chronologically. He, like, I think of Sal.
Yeah, I think of Herb, but
no, yeah, Herb. But you're same point though. Herb and Sal and like Dale Keown and like, right, like you don't, like, if you're having a conversation about the seminal Hulk artists, or like pick any Marvel character, to your point. If we were to have a conversation about who are the 5 seminal artists on any of these characters, Jack would be in that 5, if not number 1, in almost every character we'd name. But to your point, I don't think he would be, for me, in the Hulk, even though he created the character. So yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and I think that the formula, pun intended, of Jekyll and Hyde is intense, but looking at everything else, and I shouldn't be looking at everything else because it's not relevant, but it is, right? Yeah, I'd have to pick the Hulk as his most overrated.
Yeah, I'm not mad at that.
I get that.
All right, Dap, tell us what's underrated about Kirby, because again, so much of his career is yet to be discovered.
Oh yes, yeah. No, it's a shame. Actually, this is a throwback. I'm bringing us back to our Bullpen Bulletins album art. My underrated is Machine Man.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing. I mean, nothing more to add to it. I like the concept. I like the idea. I thought the Barry Windsor Smith miniseries was a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, just a character that maybe not gets associated with Kirby. Maybe. But yeah, it's just one that I don't think you don't often hear. You'll hear Kirby in a myriad of other creations, but not as often Machine Man. So I wanted to give it a rub.
Yeah, I think that whole 2001 comic is underrated.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
My underrated is actually a throwback to last episode, because many will remember that when we were talking about the last great runs of all of these characters, Vince said the last great run of Thor was Kirby, and we were like, "Did we forget about Samson?" But point being, you're at the moment surprising mention of Kirby Thor. I was like thinking about this week, like, you know what? I think Kirby's Thor contributions are underrated. Like, again, I think if people are talking about all the things that Kirby has done and is done at Marvel, I don't know that many people like lead with Thor and all of the Norse and Asgardian mythos that he's created, but he did all that too. And he actually came back, and had a second. He did two important runs of Thor. I mean, it's Kirby. So again, like, he created all of this. So it's hard to kind of like single out an underrated thing. But for me, and this is more of a personal point, I was like, oh, you know what? Like I think Simonson's run was great as well. But Vince is right to at least highlight that Kirby's Thor is also, from a creative standpoint, I wouldn't necessarily put it in the same tier as everything that came from Fantastic Four, as an example, but if you put Fantastic Four to its side as kind of like its own like nothing can touch it, you could argue that Kirby's work on Thor and the worlds and characters and mythos he created in those runs is the second richest, like, in terms of what's persisted.
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
all of those characters remain important. And again, we're talking about comics, but like, certainly much of those characters and creations are vitally important to the MCU. I mean, like, beyond the comics. I mean, so my underrated is Kirby Thor.
There would be no New Gods without Thor.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Underrated. There's only one answer. And I know it began as a pastiche of Planet of the Apes, but I believe Kirby took it in new and uncharted territory. Commandy.
I think we left that for you, because it would be wrong for you not to choose
Yeah.
it. So. But the thing is like, is it also your favorite? Well, we'll save that, but it'll be interesting if you chose, because you're not supposed to use the same one, but that's fine.
You're not supposed
to. Yes.
It is not.
Okay.
It's not.
It would be, if a Commandy wasn't in one of these two categories, the positive categories for you, it would have been an absolute, like, the cosmos would have folded upon itself. So,
right.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Dap, least favorite.
My least favorite. It wasn't necessarily. I mean, it's been collected into one collection, but they didn't necessarily have their own comic. They were in an anthology. They were in our fighting forces. But my least favorite, only because I'm not keen on war, is The Losers.
Oh, interesting. I almost went for underrated. If Thor didn't exist, I was going to go with Sergeant Fury because Jack was a veteran. He was in Normandy,
interesting.
and
Yeah.
I felt that was pretty good. But anyway, yeah, but that's a good pick. For me, least favorite was very easy as well. Because I hate this fucking character, and he created it. I love many of the characters that Jack created.
Oh, I
would
knew
wish
it.
if I met Jack, I'd slap him in the face. My least favorite Kirby is Demon. He fucking created the Demon Etrigan, and he fucking wrote and drew the first 16, well, the only 16 issues of the Demon. It was just called Demon, but I'm talking about Demon Etrigan. Hate the fucking character. Wish character didn't exist. Annoys the shit out of me. And also, just for added karma of why it's my least favorite, he started doing Demon, and they because the Fourth World stuff wasn't selling, they canceled 2 of the 4 Fourth World titles to give him time to create the Demon. So fuck him twice. Fuck him for it's a bad character, and fuck him for it ended up stifling, probably one of the more creative, passionate portions of Jack's career. And I understand sales didn't support keeping the titles going anyway, but that being said, I would much prefer to have seen him give another year or two at fleshing out the Fourth World characters in the universe. So
I almost played Demon underrated, but yeah, only because I knew
I think he's just wrong. It's not. It's really not.
You really need to read the Matt Wagner miniseries. I'm telling you.
If I had a hardcover collection of the Demon right now, I'd wipe my ass with it. Take it down.
All right, you don't. It's not. You don't have to say that.
That's the line. That's where we're not crossing.
So who's your least favorite Kirby?
You talking to me or that?
Yeah, me. Least favorite. Dap already said losers.
I would have to go because Jack was getting old.
Yes,
and they were pillaging his flat files for everything and anything to make a series. Topps came along and did the Kirbyverse comics, where I think the Phantom Force is by far my least favorite Kirby. I think because he didn't draw all of it. In fact, Thibodeau is responsible for most of it. Anything the Kirbyverse, but more to the point, the Phantom Force was not great.
I mean, I haven't even read this stuff, so I can't speak to it. But I would assume that if I had read it, it would be an easy choice for that.
Yeah. Again, he's coming off the high of Captain Victory, which I think is great. Silver Star is great, and then the Kirbyverse,
right?
And Disco drew a lot of it as well. So I think they used his name as a launch pad for something that was not up to the standards of the greatest artists comics has ever seen or will ever see. So,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and up last is our favorite. Dap, who's your favorite? What's your favorite Kirby?
This was pretty much a no-brainer for me. It was Fantastic Four.
Nice.
I assume this is probably the first and only sweep of the night. It was mine as well.
Yeah, I want to say Commandy. I want to
show. You picked it for underrated, so you got it.
Yeah. Fantastic Four.
Yeah, it's just because it's the Big Bang. It's the Marvel exists because of the ideas that he came up with in the Fantastic Four.
Right.
And it's one of the books that he was on the longest. And
it was so creative, right? Like they're legit, like great, like the characters and concepts are vibrant and memorable and creative and varied, and like every fucking issue, like literally, like for years, like every issue had something new in it. It's like a petri dish full of magic. Like it's
almost silly to not pick. But that's it.
You have to. You can't. I don't think. Yeah. You unless you're a Marvel hater, which plenty of people aren't Marvel fans. Unless you just didn't like Marvel and are just a pure DC head, which is fine. But like you have, like I don't know. Yeah, Kirby and Fantastic Four are just synonymous. It's just it's fucking amazing. And to be honest, of all of the Kirby, like early Kirby work, I mean, it's the one that I most vividly remember pretty much all of it. Like, and obviously I wasn't reading it when it came out. Well, I wasn't born, but like I'm saying, having gone back and reread much of that early stuff, like I remember concepts and certain storylines or pages or visuals from many of the runs, but like I feel like I remember like the entirety of his FF run. Like I just remember the issues. Like I remember what happened in each issue. You know what I mean? Like it's that important. It's that important. So yeah, fucking great.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're aligned. All right. Now the last one, our last category is again this one out of the three I thought was the easiest, but in a different way. I thought that the first two categories were difficult because generally speaking, I think Mad Magazine contributors are great, and generally speaking, Jack Kirby comics are great. This one was easy because, but at least a portion of it was easy because our last and final OUFL is comic book events. Now, you know, it's been a long ass time since I had event fatigue, or since I built and have maintained event fatigue. So to my mind, like like however you want to, like however big a net you want to cast in terms of how you define comic book events, I think the vast majority of them are bad to overrated. I am not generally speaking, I have over the years become I have become an enemy or a non-fan of events. So
I agree.
So for me, the harder categories for me in this case were least favorite and overrated because I think I had dozens of choices in each. To lay the groundwork. But with that in mind, I'll start off with overrated. And again, I had lots that I considered here. I really did. But I ultimately went with Civil War because, and it's overrated, not least favorite, because I did at the time. I would be lying if I said I didn't like enjoy Civil War. But as we've aged through more of the comics history, I think it's overrated because I think it's on the short list for a lot of people like one of the best events ever, and it's also very much at the center of it's one of the creative centerpieces of the MCU, and some people call it one of the launch points of modern comics. And to me, that's bad. Those are all bad. Well, the MCU is not bad in itself, but like as you guys know, I mean, someone who read pretty much every Marvel comic for decades happily, and now doesn't really read any with great joy. I kind of point Civil War as like the start of that, like where I started being like, oh, and it just was a tonal shift and an attempt at modernizing, but in a way that just didn't give me the joy that comics used to give me, and I can't really honestly separate how I feel about Civil War from the fact that also where I was in my life at the time in terms of I was adult, married with kid, like, so I realized all of that plays a all of these factors sort of contribute to our journey of fandom, and I don't profess to say that my own sort of point in life and my discovery of other types of comics all didn't also come into play here. But yeah, I think Civil War is not a bad event, but to me it was the first of the major events by Marvel or DC where I was legit tired of events and thought I would much prefer them to not do events, because every character gets sidelined into these things. Everything is about this thing for a few months. It stops all the other arcs in the middle of their tracks, and it feels very editorially driven, even when it's well executed. And I feel like for me, Civil War is the most successful event where I really had that feeling like, oh, this really is more bad than good for the thing I love. So that's my pick.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was, when I was looking at the list of events, and you see that there's some sites that will tell you, how many issues are involved, and
Oh, right.
I wasn't surprised at the number of issues beyond the 6-7 issues of the main series for Civil War, but and without spoiling anybody's future picks. I mean, I was looking at like the more recent Secret Wars was like 203 issues. Secret Invasion. Marvel has, and I was comparing them to other publishers, and Marvel just seems to go way overboard when it comes to tie-in issues for events, and it's insane. But yeah, I mean, Civil War also, I think, it can be claimed that maybe the movie got the roles right, but I mean, I think at the start, when you had Steve and Tony representing the sides, I think a lot of readers felt that it didn't really ring true to who the characters actually were, and even though it was, I guess, a Bendis idea that they handed off to Miller, there were some interesting things that happened. But then, you had you had Spider-Man reveal his identity, which was supposed to last forever, but that was only because one more day was happening, and I guess they knew that they were going to have to.
Punisher was one of the main heroes, and it's like,
right,
bro,
yes,
like really. Like,
and then they even tried, and they brought back Punisher Original because he was because of what happened with Captain America later on, and how he was supposed to, like, carry that mantle. And it's just like was thinking back on it.
It in Iron Man's ass with the whole spot. Like it's like the whole, like, again, a lot of the things that then have really carried forward ever since and are in the MCU, and I'm not even mad at them. Like Peter and Tony having a good relationship in the MCU,
right?
But like, it just to me felt like, oh, this is like, it kind of like, we make fun of Vince, but like, a lot we say, oh, you don't like any character created unless. I guess Civil War in a lot of ways was that for me, not to maybe the same extreme where I'm just like, oh, like this really isn't my thing anymore. Like this is, and again, I don't know that I felt as strongly as I'm saying I am now. Then I was just sort of like kind of irked by certain things about it. But now that I look back at the journey, like to me, the patient zero of the virus that I caught that led to me to be pretty much completely out on Marvel now in 2026, I do trace back to Civil War. Like that was when I got sick. That's when I caught the cold.
And there were some. I mean, not that it's a fantastic storyline to last the test of time, but the Guggenheim Ramos story in Wolverine, where he was hunting down Nitro, and I mean, that may have gone on a little long,
again,
but I mean, it looked good. It was a fun story.
Event.
But right, yeah,
I'm not even saying the whole thing's a bad event. Again, this is overrated, not least favorite. But to me, I just, because I think it's regarded as by many as one of the best events of all time, especially people under like 30, 35 and under. Probably it's many of their favorites. But yeah. So, all right, Vince, what's yours? Overrated.
Yeah, right. I initially I cheated, and my I know far it's hard to believe, but my overrated and underrated were the same thing.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
So I realized the problems I was going to cause. So my overrated, I changed it.
Okay.
It initially was well, I'll save it.
Tell us what's the end.
My overrated is Secret Invasion.
I see that too. Yeah, that was
I
yeah.
cannot stand doppelgangers.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, you don't like doppelgangers, yeah.
It's to the point where wondering whether or not this person was who they said they were or not, and why they doing the things that they're doing. It just I have no time for that. So Secret Invasion I find it extremely overrated.
My thing is, I remember at Secret Invasion, and again, I got to be fair here. At the time, I loved it. I remember loving it at the time. But I do remember the reveal, and I guess it's okay to spoil an event that happened 25 years ago, or 20 years ago.
Damn.
The reveal was literally like a MacGuffin. It was literally
exactly
like a spaceship lands, and all the heroes that were replaced years before by Skrulls are just all in this fucking one ship, and they're like, "Oh, we're back," and it's like, we always talk about with Big Two comics, you always got to put the chess pieces back on the board where you found them.
Right.
And like to me, Secret Invasion is like the literal encapsulation of that reality. It's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I concur with that pick as well. Yeah.
That's a good.
All right, Dap, what's yours?
I was torn because I had to laugh at first because I really didn't like I at first I put down Flashpoint because I didn't like where DC ended up afterwards with the new.
That was on my short list. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Underrated?
But when I think about
Overrated.
oh yeah, overrated. But when I think about events that were hyped up and I got caught up in that and I couldn't wait and oh my god, this was the best fucking thing ever leading up to it, and then it actually happened. And then you think about the fallout years later, and then even Tony and I were talking about it on an episode. Overrated for me, I'm going to say Deathmate.
Okay. Nice. All right.
Yeah. I originally, one of the contenders for overrated was, don't even know the name of the event. But the Philip Kennedy Johnson Superman, where he goes to Warworld.
Oh, Warworld, yeah.
So Warworld, yeah.
Yeah, the whole the new Wonder Woman and the new Green Lantern Corps, and I thought just like I put so much stock in like it being the thing.
Right.
It's gonna revitalize DC. It's gonna make it amazing to be a DC fan again. It came out and it was crap.
I mean, you could have stopped at just a Philip Kennedy concert.
No, I mean the guy's talented, but
Yes.
I think so. I think
he is. I know you both think so.
So
but,
does Ian.
Yeah, over as fuck.
Nice. All right. This episode's great. All right, my underrated. There weren't too many that I thought were like this. Like I wasn't choosing from a big list here. Again, given my general take on events, but ultimately I decided on Inferno. That was the 1989 mutant event. There was back in the 80s, Marvel was fond of having the line events. Like Avengers would have events, Spidey would have events. Like they weren't necessarily like full on like complete line crossovers. There were Inferno tie-ins to a lot of the other Marvel books too, but like it was generally speaking a mutant event, just like Fall of the Mutants and others. But I just remember Inferno the most fondly. It was basically a story of Limbo, which is one of the many versions in the Marvel mythos of hell, a dark dimension, and you had Sim, who was basically Dave Sim, and Nastor and these demons, and they invade Earth, and so it was basically like demons running amok on Earth. Magic, Ileana was one of the main centerpieces of the heroes, and ergo the X-Men, because she was part of that, were part of were all the equation, and it was really where Mr. Sinister got some of his first big shine, and just I just remember enjoying pretty much all of it, and it ran through X-Men and X Factor and Excalibur and New Mutants, and I think Exterminators was going on at the time, and I just really enjoyed it, and the omnibus came out. I lose track of time, but a few years ago the omnibus came out, and I reread it then. And when you reread stuff, sometimes it holds up, sometimes it doesn't. I thought it held up well. I thought great still. I thought it was well paced, and I enjoyed revisiting the events. So that's my pick. Underrated is Inferno. What you got, Vince?
My underrated, again, was the same as my overrated, but because I truly believe that this is seen as the quote Big Bang of the event storylines. but it did change the publishing landscape forever. It was Secret Wars.
Secret Wars, yeah. Oh, so you were going to make it overrated. I understand the idea of making it overrated. Yeah, I totally get that.
Yeah, but it changed it because
right. Yeah.
My underrated is also Inferno. I love Inferno.
Nice.
Yeah, for all the reasons that you list, plus it involves demons, like
and underboob.
Yeah, and underboob. Madam Pryor comes back in a bad way. I think it's so good.
Yep.
I mean, it crossed over into Amazing Spider-Man, effortlessly. Blah blah blah. I think it's very nice.
and also the art matters, right? Like Brett Blevins, Silvestri, Simonson, Alan Davis, like fucking I mean, these are like
McFarlane.
Like yeah, so it's like man, like it's just a good time. It was unlike 2026. It was a good time to be an X-Man. It was really
yeah.
So yeah. So pour one out for 1989.
Damn.
Dap, you're underrated.
I almost want to say Mutant Massacre just to keep the mutie love going on, but
you wouldn't be wrong.
No, I love Mutant Massacre. I love those X-Men issues.
Vince should have said. I should have said Inferno. Vince should have said Mutant Massacre, and you should have said Fall of the.
Yeah, if I'd read. Yeah, you're right.
Sure.
Yeah,
trilogy.
This was actually a little tough because I was trying to figure out if I'm just thinking about if I'm looking at them through rose-colored glasses. Is it just nostalgia speaking to me that I just want people to be aware of these events, or do I really feel that they were underrated? Because I have fond memories of War of the Gods, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's underrated enough where people need to run out and get that absolute of it. Same thing with Millennium, because people are going to scoff at that, because it's like that was while I enjoyed it, some people might read it today and just be like, oh, this is corny as fuck. And I can't believe that, Dirk from Booster Gold was a Manhunter, and Dr. Jace from The Outside, and blah, blah, blah. So but one that is still
people figured that out enough where they changed the ending.
Well, see, that's and so you're not going to see Armageddon 2001 on my list, but this is one of my favorite events. You're going to be able to get an omnibus of it, collecting the entirety of it, and it's just and because it spawned some really, really good series. For me, underrated. Even though I'll talk about it often, I'll buy it whenever I find it, and I got to talk about it with Sean and Julian. My underrated is Legends.
Oh, that's a good one. No, that's a good one, and it's on brand for you. Yeah. No, that's good. I like that.
You got Ostrander, you got Kessel, you got Byrne. It's a whole lot of fun.
Good. I think it's good because it is one that's kind of fallen through the historical cracks a bit. I don't know that a lot of people talk about it, so that's
it doesn't
kind of
go on forever,
right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yep. All right. I'm up for least favorite, and again, this was fucking long and undistinguished. As I looked at the list of events, that one, like there's like 40 or 50 that I actually consider things I dislike intensely. I had to really let the cream fall to the bottom. And so ultimately, after much deliberation in my head, I went with my least favorite being Secret Wars 2. Because as Vince is alluding with Secret Wars, which was both overrated and underrated, but also like it didn't age well. Secret Wars 2 was neither as significant, and it wasn't as good at the moment, and it has aged horribly. Like it was a blatant attempt to recapture whatever magic there was with Secret Wars, and yet had none of the creativity or the uniqueness or the ennui. It was just another. It was like a the first one was a toy tie-in. It was like a Trojan horse. They were trying to sell us toys by making them, if the moment, feel epic, and it worked. Like it worked for 10-year-old Jason. But Secret Wars 2 was just trash across the board. Like it just wasn't good. It didn't look good. It wasn't. There was no story. It wasn't. It was just like it was like all the things that were wrong about the original Secret Wars, and none of them were right. So that's mine.
If Secret Wars went on, I don't know how long it went on for, but beyond the initial 12 issues, let's just say there were, I don't know.
Well, there were 12. The first one was 12 issues.
Yeah, right, but it also spilled over into into other books. Secret Wars 2 seemingly went on forever.
Yeah, I mean, Secret Wars 2, the event itself was 9 issues, but to your point, it crossed over into everything.
Everything. Yeah, at that point, I was just like, "This sucks. This is really bad," but not as bad as my least favorite, which I think I am also not a fan of the event structure. So there was a lot to pick from. My least favorite. This stands out as being garbage among the crap. DC 1 million.
Wow.
I think it went on forever, where everything crossed over, and I think that the art was bad, the storytelling was bad, the premise was bad. It's just a whole lot of bad.
Yeah, it was a bleak.
Yeah, where it's just the omnibus is too big, very little payoff. It's DC 1 million.
I never read it, so I can't speak to it.
Don't voice.
wasn't on my to-do list, but yeah, I haven't read it.
Oh man, that's a good one. That is a good pick. Yeah.
Well, what's yours, Dan?
It was good also. My least favorite. This, like you, Jason, I had to whittle it down. But then when it just became apparent, it was really the only answer. I'm going with Infinite Crisis. I did not care for it. Did not care for the outcome, the fallout. You got the. We got 52 and Countdown and 1 year later, and it was not. It brought back fucking Jason Todd. It brought back Superboy Prime. It had as nice as it looked for the most part. Johns is doing great work with Ghost Machine. This isn't a John slam. It's not a. It's just I did not. Everything that came out of that event and what it undid, just left a sour taste in my mouth.
I know his favorite.
Well, hold on,
you
bro.
have to, bro. I mean, come on. If anybody's listened to this show for fucking any moment, everybody should know my favorite. But yes,
I think. Wait a minute.
No, this is interesting because I don't think you guys know what I'm going to pick.
No.
I think he was talking about me.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I know yours. I know his.
Okay. Yeah. Mine. Okay. There's a caveat. My initial response to this was 52. But then I thought, like, is that really an event as much as it was just a year-long series?
Right.
Because the whole point of it was like while the main heroes were gone from the publishing, like what was happening, and it's not.
It's not like there were other comics that tied into that.
Right. Like we make our own rules, so sure you could call. I mean, I could very much call it an event because I do genuinely love with my all heart of hearts 52, but I talked myself out. So with that off the board, my favorite event was Annihilation.
That's a great one.
We all are fans of what Abnett and Lanning did to completely reinvent and reinvigorate the Marvel Cosmic and bring it to a place of prominence that hadn't been in 20 years since Starlin. And I would argue that from a creative consistency standpoint, they even elevated it beyond that in many ways. And then again, kind of getting back, like it laid the groundwork for much of what we see in the MCU, which could be good or bad depending on your perspective. But I mean, I think for me, there's nothing about the Guardians movies that I don't love. So, but yeah, I just thought Annihilation was a tight, well-paced event that didn't have bloat. Like it wasn't tying in all over like it didn't have to read 100 issues. It was super like well-structured, action-packed. It had a really compelling narrative and paid off. Like things have happened and what happened in it like it stuck for many years after, and it had a super like fun arc that concluded satisfyingly. So yeah, I mean, for me, I have really nothing bad to say about that event, and I had reread it during the pandemic, and I thought it was great on reread. So I'm gonna go with Annihilation.
Love it.
Yeah, that's on brand.
I don't know if that's an insult or a
No,
compliment, but
that's perfect. That's perfect.
okay.
My favorite event is extremely well written. It took existing concepts and characters and revitalized them, gave them a reason for being that we did not consider at the time. I think it revitalized entire franchise. Xbox is by far my favorite event.
Respect.
Yeah,
Which one?
House of
Xbox.
X Powers of 10.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think what they did to Hickman was criminal.
Oh, it's criminal.
In that he reworked the X-Men universe into a believable living entity, and they took it away from it, and they gave it
Yep.
to lesser talents, and they ruined it. They ruined
They
it.
for sure did, bro.
Yeah,
For sure did. Fucking Brevoort, man. I tell you what. I'm
yeah.
really against like that. You know the professional slap fighting leagues that exist now. Like I'm really against those because it's just basically like a reason to give people head trauma. But if you told me I could do like a celebrity like head slap me versus Brevoort, I would do it. Now I would do it just to get my licks in on this what he's doing to the X-Men.
Love it.
And you know what? I would support your decision because I think that we haven't seen, we haven't experienced the level of complexity that Hickman bestowed upon the X universe yet.
Well, I knew we were, and not to relitigate how bad the X world has become under, but when Brevoort was given control of the X line, and you know, Brevoort obviously has been at Marvel in an important editorial position for decades. This was the first time he ever was given the keys. I remember reading an interview with him as it was getting ready to launch, and he said, to your point, Vince, yeah, you know, fans really seemed to not enjoy what was going on with Krakoa because it was too complex.
Yeah,
So we're going to get
bullshit.
back to the roots of it and make it simple to the core. And I thought, oh, we're done. It's
We're
fucked.
done. We're done.
I'm like, again, Tom, comics aren't for 10-year-olds anymore. They were simple when we were 10 because we were 10. Now we're all
Yeah.
fucking 50 and 60. Like we can be complicated. Like,
Yeah.
but whatever. Yeah. I
When
don't want to go off on a tangent, but yes, yeah.
Yeah, when the a runaway bestseller tops off at 75 to 100,000, there's problems,
Yeah.
right? Um, make those 100,000 people happy, and don't worry about it. Basically. But he was to his detriment because I don't think the X-Men books have been the same before or since.
Of course not.
Yeah.
Yep. Completely agree. All right, Dap, you finish us off, baby, with your least favorite.
No, favorite.
I'm sorry, by favorite rather.
Yeah, no, Vince guessed it. Not there was anything to guess. I alluded to it by saying what Infinite Crisis had undone. It's pretty much the event that I more or less kind of started it as far as events go. It was one of the first. It is Crisis on Infinite Earths. It was.
Yeah.
I was and yes, I mean I don't know. I can't speak on somebody who's newer or started reading comics in the '90s or beyond, and may try to get into this and see what the big deal was. But as somebody who was reading DC in the early '80s, leading up to this event. And then being in the thick of it, it blew my fucking mind. Seeing all these characters, seeing Perez draw these fucking characters, and what had happened, and reading the Flash, and seeing, of course, what happens to Barry, and things with Superman and Wonder Woman, the Trinity. It just, yeah, it's a whole thing. I could talk for decades on it. It's an event that I tend to I'll find issues if I see them at a decent price. I'm getting the DC finest collections because there's only going to be 4 of them. I wish I got the. I sacked up and got the big monster box set that they released a few years ago. I don't know if I'm going to get the 40th anniversary edition that's due this year, but yeah, it's one of those things that just I absolutely I don't. It sings to me. Is all I can say about it. It's near and dear. I love it with all my heart. It's near. I mean, yes, obviously at the time, sure, they thought that these were going to stick. This was a massive thing for DC, and these are our characters, and we're going to move forward. But if the comic industry was going to pull the plug that weekend, sure, I could see it being the swan song. But you can't make something almost 50 years ago and still think that what happened there is going to remain. So we may have strayed from what they did, what Marvin Company did, but at the moment, telling that story, all those crossovers, it was something special. It's going to take something super magical to not make this for Crisis. For something to kick Crisis off from being my favorite. But yes, all-time favorite event is Crisis on Infinite Earths.
Which is nuts to me.
I know it is.
Expected, right? But nuts to me, given your New Gods pick. Because what happens post-Crisis is Kirby's Jimmy Olsen. Byrne took Kirby and used it as a template for his entire take on Superman.
Well, I mean, he borrowed the Guardian, he borrowed Double X, the Newsboy Legion, but it's not. But I mean, come on. I mean, you say the New Gods. He had Superman and Barda making a porno. Like it's not like there was a bunch of New God stuff in Byrne's Superman run.
See, you're being very granular.
I'm being flippant.
Yes. Whereas in theory, he took what made Kirby's work on Jimmy Olsen and the New Gods work not only for Superman, but line-wide. Where I think Crisis is extremely important, but not as important as what Byrne did for DC. I think Byrne gave DC Superman, but transformed the publishing house DC in its wake, and I think that was worth. You'll never hear me say this twice, so erase what you're about to hear. I think what Kirby did at DC is not as important as what Byrne did at DC.
I think I would.
I mean, is that in dispute? That's not really. Is that in dispute? I think that's great.
I mean, Jack created characters, and he gave. Obviously, he left his mark.
Jack created Darkseid. End of story.
Well, and Demon,
You're
Jason's favorite
contradicting
character.
yourself now. You're the
but-
one that just said it, not me. You're the one that just said that Byrne is more important, not me.
Right. And then if you create Dark Side and you're not the most important creator, there's something amiss.
But keep in mind
but Byrne did more
that
than that.
a lot of but you have to remember there are things Byrne loves playing with other people's toys. That's why he left Alpha Flight, because that wasn't a Stan and Jack creation.
Exactly.
And so he didn't create Superman. He modified it. He tweaked it. He didn't create everything that happened pre-Triangle era.
Yeah.
But so I mean, you have to, obviously there was groundwork there. There was a foundation that Byrne was able to build off of, and still does. I mean, people are still taking what Byrne did in the Superman stuff and expanding on it. But it's I don't disagree with you that yes, what Byrne contributions are, well, they're longer lasting, I would think, but I don't. Yes, they're important. But yeah, it's yeah, no, I'm that's interesting.
There's really no right answer, right? Where Crisis is monumental. Crisis is incredible. What Byrne did is incredible, right? So at what point are we splitting hairs?
But you also have to think about what Byrne did. As great as much as you and I love what Byrne did with Superman, he threw a monkey wrench in things. He wreaked a little bit of havoc because there was no more Superboy, which means now you had to revamp the Legion's origins. There was that whole little pocket. So there was fallout. I mean, even when, because I'm reading a back issue now where they're talking about the 80s stuff, and even when Wade and Michael Urey are talking about running the Secret Origins magazine series, there were origins, there were stories that were written and drawn and lettered and ready to go, but because it had any sort of reference to anything that Byrne vetoed regarding Superman, like everything got so he had even though it was Superman, as great as Superman was, and what Marv and Jerry were doing also with him, it rippled into other things that you wouldn't think had anything to do with Byrne or Superman. So it's
right.
I love it, but yeah, he was a pain in the ass.
He's not a fan of the Legion.
No, he is not.
Period. Yeah. So the Legion was a casualty. The question remains: is what Byrne gave DC commensurate with his killing of the Legion? And I think that Byrne gave them far more, because who buys the Legion?
Plus, it's 1,000 years in the future. You've got room to play with. You don't necessarily need to be right. Yeah. So just because you're not married to Superman anymore, there was never a Superboy. At least there wasn't until now. Yes. The good he did outweighs the bad, but the bad still made people pissed.
Right. I would roll out the red carpet for John Byrne, but begrudgingly so, because obviously we love the Legion. So but I think Byrne did heaps for DC.
Yes,
where I think Kirby did an amazing job. But I don't think fans were ready for what he brought to the table. That's why the New Gods didn't last so long, because fans weren't ready for what Jack was doing. The Hunger Gods. I want to. That was one of my picks for underrated, where I think what Kirby did with Hunger Gods is he finished almost the New God storyline, where it went by without a blip. It nobody cared. At that point, nobody gave a shit because of Burton was the Superman guy, and rightly so. Yeah, it's
There
amazing.
we did it. We done did it.
We done did it. Yeah, yep.
Proud of you.
That's a lot of fun. I always like the the underrated, overrated.
Hells yeah.
Yeah, it's always a whole lot of fun, and there's really no right answers except the demon. That's just
That was the
wrong.
most right answer. That was the easiest of the choices.
No, that's wrong. That's just completely and utterly wrong. But
I'm going to make it a mission. That's the one mission I have right now for Heroes. I'm going to look for that 4-issue miniseries by Wagner and Nichols, and I'm going to give it to Jason.
he won't. He'll read it, but he won't enjoy it.
We'll see.
Yeah, I can't see
I
not.
can't stand the fucking character, so I don't like. I don't know, like Wagner. Or
This
not,
was, this was, and I mean, it's.
I mean, this is a guy whose alter ego is named Jason. He's part of the nation of Jasons. I don't even like.
That's true. But this is for anybody who's not aware, the purpose, the reason this miniseries exists or existed, was that they were going to. It was a reboot, just like what Byrne and Miller and Perez did with the Trinity. This was they had given Wagner carte blanche. You can do whatever you want with the character. You recreate. You're redoing the character. This is a reboot. Yeah. We're going to stick with it. And it was dark. It was gloomy. It looks fucking great. But they got cold feet, and they're like, yeah. This was cool and all, but I think we're going to roll it back to the way we had it. And it was like, well, fuck you very much then, I guess. But as far as those 4 issues are concerned, it's my favorite Demon story. And I mean, I'm not turned off by it in the way that Jason is. But and yes, I do have a hard on for Matt Wagner, of course. But yeah, for me to want to read Wagner's Demon over Kirby's, or Moore's or Gaiman's or anyone else's, it not that should carry any weight, but it's a miniseries that I don't think gets the love, and it's because it's a blip. It doesn't have anything really to do with the character and what he's done really ever, because they just rolled it back to how it was, and so you kind of just forget about this. But I still think it's a great miniseries.
I do too.
Aw.
Yeah.
There you have it.
In retrospect, it's not that different than what Kirby did. It's different, but it's still the same character. There are major tweaks applied to it.
Yeah.
Whereas to say that thank you very much, but we're gonna go back to where it was.
We're not even going in another direction. We're just going back.
Yeah, it wasn't selling, which is one of the reasons you canceled the book to begin with. I'm glad it exists. That's
and I mean, it's it's late '80s, so I mean, it feels like that as well. So I mean, it's not like anybody reading it now is going to be like, oh, this is slamming, because this is up and current. But yeah, no, but anyway, I guess I guess we can roll into our in your travels and talk about some actual comics.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah. Again, brought to you by cheapgraphicnovels.com. cheapgraphicnovels.com. All you need to know is in the title. Go there, get your stuff. If it has a spine, for far less than retail, cheapgraphicnovels.com. If you would like to leave us a review, we would appreciate whether it's the star system or you have to type out actual words would be amazing. And check out our Patreon, patreon.com/11 o'clock comics. 1 1, no apostrophe. $1, $5, $10. Boom, you're done. You're done. Patreon.com/11 o'clock comics. I will make this quick. There's a theme to my intros where I read stuff that spoke to me on a level of feel good comics. To get deeper, then that would be pointless. They sort to make me feel good. And I read The Suicide Squad, The Silver Age Omnibus, Volume 1, which Task Force X, a.k.a. The Suicide Squad, written for the most part by Bob Kanigher and embellished a little bit by Howard Liss. The pencils are Ross Andrew, ding, Gene Gene Colan, ding, and Joe Kubert.
Big dang.
Dang, dang, dang. Inks by Esposito, Colan, and Kubert. It's basically the storylines are the Brave and the Bold up until issue number 39, which was 1962, 61-62, and Star Spangled War Stories, which goes to 66. So it's Rick Flag, Karen, Karin, versus. I think it's amazing that you could tell what trends were popular based on what the story's about. It's basically like there's a couple of stories where there's a giant cyclops in one of them and a mad scientist in another one. But for the most part, it's the Suicide Squad versus dinosaurs. Yeah. Versus all different types. Some are friendly, some are not so friendly, but it involves the Suicide Squad battling, among other things, various and sundry, battling dinosaurs. So the chance to see Kubert and Colin and Ross, Andrew, and Mike Esposito drawing dinosaurs, it's not a bad thing. So, comfort food, nonetheless. But if you see it, and I got mine at Ollie's for, it's a hardcover, less than $10, and it's like almost, jeez, 400 pages. It's a big book. Pick it up and read it and enjoy it. It's the Suicide Squad Separate Omnibus Volume 1. It's a whole lot of fun. That's all to say something about it beyond that is belying the point. It's fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
I bet it is. No, that is, yeah. I haven't read a lot of, I mean, here and there when they've been reprinted, but for the most part, I haven't read a ton of pre-Ostrander Suicide Squad Task Force X.
Yeah,
but,
I'm guessing it's Rick Flag's father because if not, I mean, Rick Flag would be old and busted.
Nick Fury.
Yeah, it's that, but it's beautiful. It's so nice to look at. Yeah.
Excellent pick. In your travels, because this issue is getting talked about. It came out last week. There's a lot of big doings. There's massive stage setting here. Events that happen that nobody really saw coming. I'm not sure if it's as cut and dry as it seems, but talking about Absolute Batman number 19 by Scott Snyder, Nick Dragotta, Frank Martin on colors. The issue is titled The Straw Man. We're introduced to Absolute Scarecrow, who is creepy as fuck. We are, and that's not the only character we're introduced to in this issue. There's some great exchanges between Bruce and Pennyworth. Many pages with a ton of panels. Nick was putting the work in on this issue. I am not in love with the cover. But we don't judge books by their cover here, and once you get into the issue, it's meaty. There is a lot to sit with. There's like I said, there are some great moments between Bruce and Waylon. We cut between flashbacks and present day for emphasis and to show you the impact. Gordon's not quite acting like himself, and it's easy to understand why. And then we also are introduced to Slade Wilson, who is definitely a product of war. His body has seen some damage. His body is damaged. There's a lot to take with this, if we're calling him Deathstroke, with this Deathstroke, and we're introduced to the Robins. I mean, we met Dick earlier. Basically, just real quickly, he was just kind of like in a couple of panels here and there, but we also see that Tim Drake and Stephanie Brown and Duke Thomas and Jason Todd are all part of this team. And yeah, it's an issue where even if I just kind of like tell you what happens in it, it's still the type of story that you need to experience. You need to read this for yourself. People can still kind of spoil it and tell you exactly what happens page by page, but these are one of those issues where I feel you kind of have to read it no matter what people tell you. Even if you feel like you've been spoiled, you still need to kind of sit with it yourself and see how it plays out, because I don't think words don't really do it justice. No matter what people talk about this issue, I don't think people are really going to be able to, oh no, yeah, okay, I get it, I don't need to read it now. No, I still, there aren't a ton of comics where you can kind of say that about, but yes, this is one of those things where I think you really do need to kind of read this issue. If you're obviously, if you've been reading it, you're going to continue to read it. But if hey, what's new in this whole Absolute line? What's an issue that can really kind of grab me and suck me in? This could be one of those issues. That's not an Absolute Wonder Woman issue. This could be one of those issues. So, in your travels, absolutely the latest issue of Absolute Batman number 19 from DC Comics by Scott and Nick and Frank.
Nice. Yeah, fucking great issue. I loved every bit of it. So in my Your Travels, since we didn't talk about any comics until just now, and this has been on my list for a bit, I'm gonna bang out very quickly the other three books that came in my wonderful Fantastic Graphics package 2 weeks ago. So up first is The Sea, written and drawn by Rikke Villadsen, who I believe is from Finland. This is a small book, and it's a pretty simple premise. It's about a very old man, like old, on a small fishing boat, like a rowboat type of boat. You know, like one of those sea type. Think like Old Man in the Sea. And dude is just like out there fishing, and he's talking to himself. And until he pulls up his fishing net, and what does he find in the fishing net? He finds a flounder and a baby. Yes, a baby. And he puts the flounder and the baby in his catch, and for the rest of the book has just fucking conversations with a flounder and a baby, and and it's as weird as it sounds. And ultimately, things happen with the gentleman, and there's a metaphor there, but it's pretty much that's the entirety of the graphic novel. Villadsen's art style, Vince, you would love it if you haven't seen this book. It is super duper raw. It's basically just pencils and graphite, and highly expressionist. In fact, there were pages where the way Villadsen rendered the old man, of Munch, like the Scream, the painting.
Nice.
So just super interesting book, like very much artistically challenging book. This is not for the faint of heart if you're sort of used to a very clean line, and that's the kind of comics you're gonna read. Up next is I Am Young by M. Dean. It's actually M. Dean's it was her debut graphic novel, and I wasn't familiar with her work back when it came out. As Fantagraphics want to do, it's a beautiful hardcover with like a felt sort of inlay cover. It's really nicely done. It's a polished, layered story. It walks us through a bunch of different relationships, and they're not like they're not all romantic, like interpersonal connections between humans. And the masterful thing is that Dean does all this, like the through line is music. So the centerpieces of the story, the connective tissue, is this couple, George and Miriam, who meet at a Beatles concert in the 60s, like one of the Beatles' first ever concerts. And then we see their lives, over a period of decades, and we peek into other situations throughout the decades of people they know or meet, and their stories are told around other given musicians of importance. And it's just great. I mean, if you're a music lover, which you are, it's a wonderfully executed idea of interspersing the importance of music in our lives, and how we can think of different songs or albums or musicians, and it brings us right back to a different period in our lives. And that's really what this book is all about. And Dean's cartooning is stunning. I just think it looks great. And then last but not least is Crazy for You. Now, this is a new Fantagraphics book. This one actually came out maybe a month ago. So it was actually not part of my shipment. I got it through pre-orders. But this one is by Theroux and Lafler, and I just adore Lafler's line work. He's very much in the Pope Rubin school. That same kind of approach to rendering anatomy and those really expressive faces. He's got a bit of a thicker line weight than Pope or Rubin, but still in the same school. I mean, the art to me sings. And it's like a 200 plus page anthology, but it's anthology in quotes because it's actually just two stories. So there's one that's maybe like 120, 130 pages, and then one that's a bit shorter, 70, 80 pages. The first one is just bananas. We're introduced to a renowned art collector, a fine art collector. He is super rich. He's like, Elon Musk level rich, and he owns some of the most priceless art in the world. And he just snaps one day and decides to start destroying it. And his penchant for destroying this art, which in his mind creates new art, just becomes his obsession. And he starts staging these these very public displays of destroying art. And he acquires other priceless art and destroys it. And it's just, I think, for anyone that is a fan of art or a creator of art or a collector of art, it is both a incredibly well done and fascinating story, but also unbelievably uncomfortable. Like it makes you get the bubble guts, like thinking of him destroying this art. And then the second story, which is a bit shorter, as I mentioned, is a complete departure from the first. It's about like an average dude, like a middle-aged man who essentially upends his entire life because of an unbreakable obsession with a trans prostitute that he met and ends up falling in love with. So just a really interesting work by Lafler and Theroux that I thoroughly enjoyed. Hope we get more from them. So there you have it. In your travels, read some Fantagraphics comics, people. They're almost always good.
I'm going to check out Crazy Feet. You sold me with. I mean, I was into it based on the creators. You kind of sold me with that second story with the trans. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
But and I mean, in any chance we get to remind people that Paul is Justin's uncle is a good thing. So
I didn't know that.
Oh, you didn't? I thought you did. I thought we discussed that years ago.
We might have. I just didn't. Yeah, that's great.
And Lafler is older than probably Paul and
yeah. I don't mean. Of course, I'm just trying to. It's shorthand. I understand. I'm not saying he's. Yeah, no, Lafler's sure to your point. I mean, he's an older gentleman. I don't actually know his age offhand, but he's older. Yes, you are correct. He is older than both Ruben and Pope. I just meant visually he's of that school because they would be the better known versions of that style. That's all.
I think. Well, I don't want to say that, but I love Lafler's work.
Yep.
Yes.
Love it. Yes. Yeah. So yeah, it's on the radar.
Cathead Comics, shout it out. That's his publishing.
Yep. All right. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week, normal time. All right.
Should be. Yeah.
Again, all that stuff that I said before. Say goodnight. Really got to invest in nitro. I know we say it like most of the time, but that's it. If nothing else would make the say goodnight all that more dynamic, David, if we had the sound effects.
Good night.
See how I stuck that in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw it. Yeah.
Yep. Amazing. Oh. Yeah. That is why I'm here. It's like
that and to drink chocolate peanut butter beer.
Yeah, it's not bad. Not bad.
David.
Excellent. We love you so much. Come back.
So much.
That's it for that one.